Let's talk about one of the most frustrating things we all go through. When you try to make a positive change in your life, you give it absolutely everything you have, and somehow you end up right back where you started. We're going to get into exactly why that keeps happening.
I mean, we've all asked ourselves this, right? You set a goal. You're feeling super motivated. You are 100% sure that this time it's going to be different. And then a week, maybe a month later, that fire is just gone. So what is really going on here?
Okay, so first up, let's talk about a feeling we all know way too well. We'll call it the change you can't make. It's that invisible wall you keep smacking into over and over again.
Does this sound familiar? You decide, okay, that's it. I'm going to wake up earlier, or eat better, or finally stop procrastinating. And those first few days, they feel incredible. You're on top of the world. And then, almost without you even noticing, the old habits just creep back in. And boom, you're right back at square one. It is absolutely maddening.
We're always told the problem is just a lack of willpower. That we just need to try harder, be stronger, have more discipline. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the fight itself is completely rigged from the very start? To really get why this happens, we need to take a look at the battlefield. And that battlefield? It's inside your own mind. There's a hidden war going on in there all the time. And when you look at the two sides, the numbers are, well, they're kind of staggering. Your conscious mind, that's the part of you that wants to change, the part that sets the goals, that's only about 5% of your mental power. The other 95%, that's your subconscious, the part that runs all your automatic programs, your deep-seated habits.
Just let that sink in for a second. Every single time you try to use sheer willpower to force a change, you are pitting your 5% conscious desire against a 95% subconscious program. A program that's been running on autopilot for years, maybe even decades. It's not a fair fight. It's not even close.
This brings us to a really brilliant analogy from Dr. Joe Dispenza that just makes this whole internal conflict totally clear. He frames it as an unwinnable fight.
See, neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza has the perfect way to describe this. He calls it the skinny guy problem. Just imagine your desire to change is like a kind of skinny, average guy walking into a gym for the first time.
Okay, so let's look at the two opponents here. In one corner, you've got the skinny guy. That's your conscious desire, your willpower, that tiny 5% of your mind. And in the other corner, you've got an Olympic-level powerlifter. This beast is your subconscious program, all your ingrained habits, the heavyweight champion that represents the other 95%.
So who do you think wins when the skinny guy tries to go head-to-head with the powerlifter? Yeah, the powerlifter, every single time. And it's not because the skinny guy isn't trying hard enough. It's a fundamental, absolute mismatch of power. Willpower on its own just doesn't stand a chance.
So if willpower is a losing game, then what's the answer? Well, understanding the problem is the first step. The solution is all about Section 4, stop fighting and start rewiring. This is where we need to completely shift our thinking. What if we've been playing the wrong game this whole time? Instead of trying to overpower that massive 95% with our little 5%, what if we could just change what the 95% wants to do in the first place?
And that, right there, is the whole idea behind subconscious rewiring. Think of your subconscious mind like your brain's operating system. When you have a bad habit, that's like a pop-up or an error message. You don't just keep fighting the pop-ups, right? No, you go into the source code and you change the program that's causing them. So here's the most important part. The goal is not for the skinny guy to beat the powerlifter. That's never going to happen. The real goal is to get them on the same team, to get them lifting in the same direction. It's about creating alignment, not winning a conflict.
So how does this actually work, at least in theory? Well, you can think of it as a three-step process. First, you slow your brain waves down. This is basically the goal of meditation, so you can get past that analytical, conscious mind. Step 2, that allows you to access the operating system, your subconscious. And then, once you're in, you can start to install a new program, the new belief, the new habit you actually want. You are literally rewriting the code.
Okay, so after looking at this huge battle happening inside our own heads, what's the one thing we need to remember? Let's boil it all down. If you take only one thing away today, let it be this. Stop blaming your willpower. You are not weak, you are not undisciplined. You've just been sending a skinny guy to do a powerlifter's job. Real, lasting change doesn't come from more force. It comes from getting smarter about where you put your energy. It comes from rewriting the code.
And so that leaves us with one final and pretty powerful question. I want you to look at your own life, at the changes you've struggled to make. Now that you know you're not fighting a battle of willpower, but a battle of programming, what program are you going to rewrite first?